For the last few days, I have been wondering what does it mean by net neutrality. This term is going on all over the internet in India, but today we will be learning everything that one needs to know about net neutrality. What is net neutrality? Net neutrality is an idea derived from how telephone lines have worked since the beginning of the 20th century. In case of a telephone line, you can dial any number and connect to it. It doesn't matter if you are calling operator A to operator B. It doesn't matter if you are calling a restaurant or a drug dealer. The operators neither block the access to the numbers nor deliberately delay connection to the particular number unless forced by the law. Most of the countries have rules that asks telecom operators to provide an unfiltered and unrestricted phone service. When the internet started in 1980s and 90s, there were no specific rules asked that the internet service provider should follow some principles. But mostly because telecom companies or operators were also the internet providers, they adhere to the same principle that as they made the phone call without any restricted access, they should also provide internet without any restricted access. This principle is known as the net neutrality. And internet service providers does not control the traffic that passes its servers. When a web user connects to the website or web service, he or she gets the same speed. Data rate for the YouTube videos and Facebook photos are theoretically the same. There is no restriction to the bandwidth of any particular website. So user can access any legal website or web service, games, anything without interference from the internet service providers. Some countries have rules that enforces net neutrality, but most don't. Instead, the principle is followed because this is how it has always been. How does net neutrality shape the internet? Net neutrality has shaped the internet in two fundamental ways. One is web users are free to connect to whatever website or service they want, and the internet service providers do not bother what kind of contents are being following their servers. They has allowed the internet to grow into a truly global network and has allowed people to freely express themselves. For example, you can criticize your internet service provider on a blog post, and the internet service provider will not restrict the access to that post for that other subscribers, even though the post may harm its own businesses. But more importantly, net neutrality has enabled a level playing field on the internet. To start a website, you don't need a lot of money, connection, anything. You can purchase a domain, create a blog, which is almost next to free. But just hosting a website and you are good to go then. If your service is good, you will get to generate your own audience. Unlike the cable TV where you have forced alliance with cable connection providers to make sure that your channel reaches its viewers. On internet, you don't have to talk to your internet service providers to put your website online. You can do it yourself. This has led to the creation of Google, Facebook, Twitter, and countless other services that were started from the scratch. All of the services that have humble beginnings. They started as a basic website and with modest resources, but they succeeded because net neutrality allowed web users to access these websites with an ease and unhindered way. If there is no net neutrality, internet service providers will have the power to shape the internet traffic so that they can derive extra benefits from it. For example, several internet service providers believe that they should be allowed to charge companies for services like YouTube and Netflix because these services consume more bandwidth compared to normal websites. Basically, these companies want a share of money that YouTube and Netflix makes. Without net neutrality, the internet as we know it will not exist. Instead of free access, there could be package plans for consumers. For example, if you currently pay 100 rupees for using internet on your mobile phone, when there is no net neutrality, you would have to pay extra 50 rupees to access some specific websites like Facebook and YouTube. Or there may be different connection speeds for different types of contents depending on how much you are paying for the service and what add-on packages bought. Lack of net neutrality will also spell doom for innovation on the web. It is possible that the internet service providers will charge web companies to enable faster access to their websites. Those who don't pay may see that their websites will open slowly. This means that bigger companies like Google will be able to pay more money, hence YouTube and Google Plus will open faster. And what about the startups? They will have to suffer a lot. Instead of an open and free internet without net neutrality, we are likely to get a web that has some containers. Assume that there are containers consisting of some websites. or some web services. Then if you want to enter or acquire service from any of those containers, you have to pay taxes to enter each container. Now, will the concept of net neutrality survive? Net neutrality is sort of a gentleman's agreement. It has survived so far because few people realized the potential of internet when it took off around 30 years ago. But now, when the internet is an integral part of the society and incredibly important, internet service providers across the world are trying to get the power to shape and control the traffic. But there are ways to keep net neutrality alive. Consumers should demand that internet service providers continue their hands-off approach from the internet traffic. But if consumers see a violation of net neutrality, they ought to take some proactive approach and register their displeasure with the internet service provider they currently use. And they should also reward the internet service provider that uphold the net neutrality. At the same time, the internet service providers are trying to take control of the traffic that are flowing through their servers, but the government can control it. So they can keep the internet open and consumer friendly by formulating some rules to protect the net neutrality. These are early days so that it can be easy. But if internet service providers manage to change the system, it may be too late. Thank you for watching this video, friends. If you like this video, please hit like button and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you. Stay tuned.